Hi, I'm Leo Everett, the CEO of ExactClick Digital. In this video on how to audit your digital marketer, I'm going to show you how to determine what your target ROAS should be for online ads. Typically, when I talk to a client about what they want to target as their ROAS for ad spend, I'll hear something like, I want ROAS to be as high as possible. But really, if you do that, you're going to limit the scale of your ad account. And the reason is because if the target ROAS is too high, it'll force us to keep spend low, which means naturally we cannot scale successful campaigns as aggressively as we could if the target ROAS were lower. So for that reason, I always recommend trying to figure out what the target ROAS should be, and we work from that in order to make sure that we build the campaigns and the account to be as effective as possible. But what most brands do not take into account, properly at least, is lifetime value. So let me give you an example of two brands, brand A and brand B, both sell basically the same product. They're a similar product. They're targeting the same people. They solve the same problem. They have similar price points, similar margins. But brand A knows what the lifetime value of their customers is, okay? Brand B has no idea. So because brand A knows what the LTV is, they know that they can spend more to acquire new customers on the front end than they would if they were to simply rely on the current value of a particular conversion. When you apply that knowledge to running ads on Google or Facebook or wherever, it's going to empower brand A, knowing that they'll be able to scale way more aggressively than brand B, who has no idea how to account for lifetime value. So it's simple. We should account for lifetime value when we're determining what the target ROAS should be. Problem is, it is sometimes not easy to get a grasp on what that number is. Now, just to give a little bit of background about myself, I started my career as an accountant, became a certified public accountant, surrendered that license a number of years ago because I do not practice and I don't intend to practice anymore. But I bring that up just to point out that I'm a numbers guy. I understand how to calculate these things, at least well enough to get you close to where you should be. Now, if you really wanted to know, you can get very complex with LTV calculations. You could hire a data scientist and they would dig into this with all kinds of analysis to figure out what it would be. Now, I realize not everybody watching this has the financial background that I do. They may not be as analytically minded as I am, so I'll let you know if you want this spreadsheet, I am more than happy to share it with you. And you can plug and play with your own numbers, figure this out, pull the reports from Shopify or Magento or whatever cart you're using, punch it in there, and you'll get a pretty good representation of what your lifetime value is. And then you can use that to reflect in your target ROAS numbers. So if you want this spreadsheet, just email me, leo@exactclickdigital.com. I'll send it right over. You can use it to figure out the LTV, your Shopify margins, your Amazon margins, and hopefully get you to a place where you are as competitive as possible in the ads wars. All right. And that'll help you beat your competitors and help your brand grow as quickly and as profitably as possible. But there's a really simple way to figure this out by exporting your customer history from Shopify, for example, and then simply segmenting the data based on the number of repeat orders that have occurred. And that's what you see on the left side of the screen here. You've got total reorders, total orders, and then you determine what a natural reorder rate is. And that'll tell you, on average, 62% of the people that buy from you will return and buy again. Now, some of those people will come back and only buy once. Most of them will do that. Well, maybe not most, but the biggest percentage of them will only come back once. That's 31% in this case. Some will come back and buy a second time after that, which would be the third order. And it'll go all the way down to what we see here. Some people have bought 13 extra times. So they've come back 13 times to complete an order, right? So what we're doing in this calculation is we're accounting for the initial order, and we're determining there's a $56 revenue per order on the initial purchase. And then we have a certain percentage of people that are coming back multiple times to buy. We're assigning those people a value, and then we are adding it as the incremental lifetime value. Now you can see originally it was $56. So if you were working off of that and then you take into account your margins, your target ROAS would be fairly low compared to what it could be now, realizing that in this case, for this client, their total lifetime value is at least $90 per order. So whenever they bring in a new customer, they know on average that customer is going to buy at least $90 worth of product from them, even if they only spent 50 to 60 on the initial order. Now, the more data you get, the more years you get under your brand's belt, the more accurate this data will be. But you can tell just looking at this much, it's very empowering if you're running an ad campaign and you originally thought the value of each order would only be $55 to $60, but the reality is over the course of a few years, it's going to be as high as 90. That gives you the chance to reflect that in your target ROAS to make sure that you're not being too timid in how hard you pursue new buyers. Now, a natural extension from this calculation is to figure out your margins accurately, okay? And you can see over here, we've gone through every line item. We figured out exactly what the gross profit margin is. And then we're applying that to the lifetime value calculation to determine what the lifetime value gross profit margin is. And again, that helps us back into an appropriate target ROAS for this brand. All right, so that's it for this video. In the next one, we're going to go over testing and how to audit your digital marketer to make sure that testing is being done correctly. Thanks for watching.